Hey y'all, welcome back to Babeinlibrary. It's your girl Lisa, and I've got to finish my 25 for 25. So I've got a stack of 7 books here that I need to finish before the end of the year. And so I'm going to do a few things. Now, I'm not going to read all of these in the video because that would be way too long and too time consuming. But I am going to tell you about the one that I am currently reading, and then we will go and see what the vibes are. I'll probably do a read the first sentence of each so I can let you know what my next pick will be, and then I may do a spinner wheel. So I'll do a couple of creative things to kind of help me chop down this. And of course, as a mood reader, I'll just pick one that suits my fancy. But I have this stack of books listed by least likely to read or least interested into most. So for the start of it, I have Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. I still have interest in reading this. I know this is an older work. I don't have any audiobook to go with it. It is really big writing and text, and it's going to be a fast read, but I'm just not in the mood for it. I have Iris Kelly Doesn't Date by Ashley Herring Blank. This one is the last and final one into the series, and I think it's been a little bit too long, which is the reason why it was placed on this list. I needed to just get it done. I really enjoyed the series. I'm just not called to read it. The next would be A Caribbean Heiress in Paris by Adriana Herrera. I am interested in reading this. I typically am not in a historical romance fancy, but I did just finish Beverly Jenkins' book for my 25 for 25, and I loved it. So maybe I can ride the coattails of that feeling and that vibe and go into this one. But again, not the highest priority I have. Keep You to Myself by Brianne Day. I have been interested because I've been seeing a resurgence of this book on Instagram. This has a special edition that just came out and everyone has been raving about it. So I was like, oh, I have it on my shelves. Now would be the perfect time to read this. So this is very, 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 very high up on my priority list. Then I have Mel Dow's My Choice Is You. I've heard really good things about this one from a couple of people I follow on YouTube. And I think this is a pretty short read, so there's no excuse for why I wouldn't be able to get it done this month. But look at this gorgeous man. He is calling to me, something I need to pick up. I know I will finish Equivalent Exchange because I am currently 38% of the way through this, and I have some initial thoughts, which I'll be sharing with you in a moment to kick off this vlog. And then lastly, because I told you all you could beat me up if I didn't, I Need to Read Fast by Melly Lazar. This is everyone's favorite. So hopefully this one will be in this vlog. I know for sure this one will be. And then whatever else I choose to go with. So we're going to start off with Equivalent Exchange. This is my second Christina C. Jones book. I read Behind the Scenes last year or the year before that, and now I'm giving her another chance with Equivalent Exchange. These two books are very, very similar in the fact that both of them are workplace romance, and in both of them, I loved the FMC, but I'm not too keen on the MMC, and I'm trying to push through and see if I start to like Lakin a little bit better. But I can tell you that I do enjoy Karis. I enjoy getting to know her a little bit more. I enjoy her persevering spirits. I enjoy, seeing her, really rebuild her life. So let me tell you what this one is about. Karis, again, is our FMC. She comes into the bar that is around the corner from her home, which is known as Night Shift, and it happens to be Lakin's own bar. Now she sees him and she thinks that he's the bartender. He comes over and she's like, okay, can I have a Macallan? Now, as a whiskey girl myself, I haven't dipped my finger or toe into the Macallan, but it definitely is one that is on my list. And as a whiskey drinker, one of the things that pisses me off the most is when someone says, oh, I don't know many women that drink whiskey, or, oh, are you sure you want that? Don't tell me what I want to drink. So that was the first thing that rubbed me the wrong way. But I did like that he quickly followed up and was like, okay, well, if you like whiskey and you want something that makes you feel fancy, let me give you the top shelf. Let me give you the best of the best. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to let you slide. Now, from there, he propositioned her and he's like, I can give you something else. And we all know what that something else is. And so they have a one night stand. And I'm like, okay, cool, she needed to get her mind off of her current situation. Karis has had a rough life. You get to know a lot more about it from how she was raised and some of the animosity that that she felt after she lost her parents. And then now coming out of a relationship where it was very toxic. She was with a man for many years, and he eventually, turned on her in the worst possible ways and is continually trying to take her down. And so Karis needed that one night to like let loose and release all of her anxieties, her fears, her angst, her tension on Lakin. And I said, okay. And so as she leaves, she drops her business card, and he sees that she is a graphic designer. Now, Lakin, like I said, owns the bar. His family has a whiskey distillery business, and now he is trying to venture into the beer industry. And so he is crafting 4 different beers, and he needs someone to make a label. And so he kind of puts her in a situation where he knows that she needs a job, and he offers to take her up on this. Now, she takes the interview and actually is very deserving of the job. And so she decides, okay, I needed this fresh start. I'm going to put everything behind us. But the thing that further irritates me, and I love a good workplace romance. However, right now they just haven't been suiting my fancy. The thing that irritated me about this is Lakin is very much, okay, this is the box that I'm going to put you in. And yet he breaks every single rule, and he does it in a way that he's very harsh. He's like, yes, you're going to get special benefits, and that benefit is this D. And I'm like, what? Sir, let's keep it a buck. I had a one night stand. You offered me a job. I don't want nothing else. But she does, and I understand, but I don't like the way in which he's coming off about it. Like that's how it's reading to me. And again, I do understand that the author, Christina, is going to write it in a way that like he's been so hardened and he's been so cold because of the things that he's experienced when it comes to losing his brother. You will see that the family dynamics is strong in here on both sides. Like I said, she has her family issues from when she was a child, and now we get to see how close-knit his family is. And his father is currently going through something, but he has also lost his brother. And his sister, is still there with him and is still helping him, but he still needs the men in his family, and he's feeling very disconnected. And so I understand that Lakin has had some challenges. However, I'm currently not vibing with him. Like, he's gotten to the point where like he is also caretaking, which again, I like. I think I'm having a hot and cold reaction to him because he will do things that will irritate me, like knocking on her door at 2 a.m. and telling her, hey, I've been gone and I never told you where I was going. You found out by someone else, but drop them draws. Like, I don't like that. But in the same token, he makes sure that if he knows that she's going to be working late, she is fed. He makes sure to always be thinking about what she needs, helping her with the groceries when he's on a run and he sees her trying to load everything in. Like, he has his good and bad qualities. And so I'm very interested to see when it gets to the end how I will truly feel about the man. But other than that, I really do like the layers in which Christina is writing their storyline. So that's currently where I am with Equivalent Exchange. The more that they start to work with each other, the more it gets closer to his brand release. We'll see how I feel. Now let's go ahead and read a line from each and let me know what I'll be picking up next. So we're going to read a line from Fast. Again, I'm very sure I'm going to be reading this, but let's see. The prologue. When I was a little girl, I developed obsessive compulsive disorder. First line of this. Disability representation with OCD. My choice is you. Prologue. Sheldon sat next to his daughter, Kavina's, or Kavi, as he called her, bed, watching her sleep after an hour's breakdown. Okay. I already know what the disability rep is in this one, but that gave me a little bit of a taste. Next is Keep You to Myself. Prologue. The scowl on her grandson's handsome face was one Gigi hated to see. Okay, so this has a grandma, and she is engaging with her grandson, and her son is angry about something. So I like that. This next one, Caribbean heiress in Paris. Life in the Caribbean had taught Luz Alonza Heath Bandsman a few vital lessons. Not really enough for me to go on. But, again, it's the first sentence. Iris Kelly doesn't date. First sentence here. Iris Kelly was desperate. Not enough. Lastly, forbidden. I gaze at the small, crisp, burnt-out black husk scattered across the chipped white paint of the windowsills. Yeah. Okay, so least likely again, still at the bottom. Unfortunately, this didn't give me enough, so also at the bottom. My feelings are showing, and I promise you it's not a bias, but the fact still remains. This one didn't grab me, whereas my most anticipated or most likely to read still hit the mark. So originally I would have said this was going to be my top choice. So this was going to be number 1. Now I think it's number 3 in the choices that I will pick up. These two are battling for each other, which is, again, makes sense. This was my most anticipated, highly likely, and this was the second one that followed right after it. Surprisingly, I almost want to say keep it to myself because, again, the granny is very in tune with her grandson. She's like, I don't think he's gonna smile a day after this, and like whatever that thing that occurred is going to irrevocably change his life. However, this one, the representation of the OCD is calling me. I think I'm gonna go with keep it to myself next, and then we'll follow up with fast. And maybe my choice is you. So, of course, these are my top choices. I will be finishing this. Let's see what I can get done. Okay, we are back and we have finished equivalent exchange. Now, I am pleasantly surprised by this one. Y'all know I had very strong feelings about Lakin. I will tell you, Lakin is reading like a Sour Patch Kid. He is one of those guys that, like, he's first really, really, really sour and he leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And then the longer you hold him, the sweeter he gets. Until you're like, okay, you can stay. That's how I felt about Lakin in this story. He is one of those characters, like, truly, I probably need to marry because I'm going to live every day of my life waking up looking at you in the face like, maybe I'll put you 6 feet under. And then halfway through the day, he'll do something and I'll be like, actually, I love you real bad and you can't go nowhere. And I say that because of this. Like, as I was telling you, he came off very gruff and very impersonable. He is very blunt, but it serves him. Like, we always say we want a man that'll tell it like it is, be loyal, tell the truth. That's Lakin. Lakin is going to say something not to hurt your feelings, but just so you know where he stands. However, he'll turn around and give you hair products so that you can stay over. He's going to make sure she eating good, like taking care of his woman. He is very, very attentive. Like, we want a man that pays attention to our needs and we don't have to ask. That's going to be Lakin. Now, there's some lip that come with it. Let me tell you, the man has his ways. Because there was a time where he had told her, like, what you worried about that for? Like, you worried about the wrong things. And I'm like, bro, my feelings are hurt. Like, and that's my name dragged through the mud by this man, and you telling me don't worry about it. In his mind, Lakin is like, why are you worried about something when you with me? Like, he's a non-factor. I'm like, I hear you. However, you're not the one walking down the street and seeing former coworkers who whispering behind you behind their back. Now, I will tell you this. I'm pleasantly surprised because I had no understanding of what this book was going to be about. I just knew it was going to be workplace romance where there was like some sort of agreement being made. But what I did not know is the emotional depth and layers that Christina folded into this story. Like I said, there's a lot you learn about Karis, and you start to unpack layers. She is in therapy, and I truly, truly, truly appreciate seeing that representation here. Karis had, like I said, some issues with her family in terms of her adopted grandmother. Then she got into this relationship with Walter, who has been on her bumper this entire time. Like, read the room, sir. Nobody wants you. And you are a diabolical, sick human being, and I wish you nothing but a lump of coal this Christmas. Now, Karis has her own issues, but then you add in Lakin, and I really appreciated how Christina worked into their relationship. Like, she saw the signs. They really did see each other. She saw the signs when he went through something extremely tragic, which took me by a storm. Like I said, he's already lost his brother. I won't tell you what happened, but once I saw what was going down, I was like, I don't know how they're going to make it through this. But Karis knew the signs. He had already told her, because again, he's very blunt. He said, hey, this is what went wrong in my last relationship. My marriage fell apart because I did X, Y, and Z. And when Karis notices that he starts to do X, Y, and Z again, she's like, hey, I want you to take care in the way that you need to get through this particular process. However, you're not finna shut me out. I'm standing on big business. And she continued to show up. But when she realized, hey, I can't fight you to be in your life, he really woke up at that point and was like, oh, I'm messing up. Like, I truly appreciate that. I loved the scene where Karis got to meet the ex-wife. And it was like on some real mature grown woman, hey, I know that you are a part of this family. As a person who needs family and wants to see everyone have that sense of completeness, I won't hold you back. Yes, I'm with this man, and I know that he still has feelings for you, and you still have feelings for him, but y'all have both moved on in life. Like, we can be amicable about this. And I was like, that's a grown woman right there. Like, these two characters have experienced so much of life where they can be cognizant and aware of what their triggers are. They can be aware of, where they stand in each other's lives. They can be aware of the things that they desire and what they need from each other. It's just so adult. Like I said, I am a little conflicted about what I want to rate this, because again, from a relationship standpoint, they work so well. Although Lakin really does grind my gears. But again, like I said, I think that's the type of man that I need. Like, I love you and I dislike you, but we rolling deep forever and ever more. Like, really good job, Christina. Next, I think I'm going to go ahead and read Keep You to Myself. Like I said in my December TBR, there are 3 books on this list, possibly 4, that if I don't finish before the end of the year, y'all can bully me. So I this is one of them, and I need to prioritize it. So Keep You to Myself by Brienne Dene is going to be what's next. Alright, y'all, I have started Keep You to Myself and Fast. I'm about 20% of the way into Keep You to Myself and 4% of the way in Fast. I just started Fast this morning, and I know I'm going to have to take breaks because it's exactly what y'all said it was. Like the beginning part of the book is rough to read on page. I'll start there because again, I'm only like 4% in. That is where we have our FMC Caprice. It starts off with you learning that she has developed OCD. disorder. And what that is a coping mechanism for her, and she is to the point where like she has to go, you know, every few hours washing, because if she doesn't, she feels dirty. And her grandmother dismisses it and just says that she has her ways. Now, after that's the prologue. Now, once we get that understanding of the now, we are transported back to when she is 8. So, mind you, it first starts off with her being 8, and she has lost her mother, and she is sent to her grandmother's home. Now, she does not recall or remember her grandmother. Her grandmother lives in Florida, which is on the outskirts of Orlando. So, in her mind, she's thinking that this is a happy place. She's going to go live with people that love her, and she has the concept of Disneyland, because when she gets on the plane, she's hearing everyone be happy and joyous about going to this place. Unbeknownst to her, she was going to a dark area and a dark period in her life. Now, her grandmother is welcoming of her. Her grandmother is like, oh, you look just like my baby. I'm so glad to have you here. You know, the things that you would expect for a grandmother to do. Now, she meets her uncle, and her uncle is like, who is this child? And she's like, this is your niece. Here we go. This is where things get dark. And I'm like, okay, he's already, when you first meet him, he's coming off grumpy and like mad that she's here. Sir, you're a grown man. Like, why are you upset that your niece has come to live with you? You really shouldn't even be living in your mama home. That's number one. 2, okay, you've got a niece that's there. You know her mom just died. That's your sister. Why are you acting so unkept? Oh, it's because you got a demon in you. Got it. So then be mindful, like when you read this, it is definitely hard to read. Like I said, I've taken a break because it has some on-page circumstances where you're very uncomfortable. However, I had a notion of what was going to happen. I did not know who, but I did have a notion, and I'm gonna leave it there because that's where I left off. Now, I'll go into, I've been reading Keep You to Myself, and y'all, Brandon should not be this funny. Like, Sanovi, our MMC, should not be this funny. And the crazy part about it is Sanovi be dead serious. Like, it's no hee ha ha. Like, what you mean? I said what I said. Like, and I don't say much. Sanovi is our MMC. We meet him kind of similar. He goes to live with his granny. Now, he had never met his granny, and he had been in the foster care system. So his granny takes him in, and he's like, oh, I feel at peace. I feel at home. Like, this is what safety and family is supposed to feel like. Until his granny suffers from a stroke. And so now he's having to go back into the foster system, and he's like, okay, well, here we go again. Now, you fast forward 5 years. Now, in that 5 years, he's living in a halfway house, and he is trying to get on his feet, right? He's had a rough go, and he just so happens to be taking out the trash one day, and he sees this girl almost get attacked by this masked man, and he's like, yo, that's not cool. He steps in and he saves her. He beats the man up, and she's like, oh my gosh, you saved me. How can I ever repay you? Now, that is not our FMC. That is our FMC's sister. Now, the sister's name is Raquel, and she is 18. She is very naive. She is very inquisitive. She is just like the annoying little sister, and she latches on to Sanovi to the point where she's like, okay, I'm going to be your friend. Like, I don't care what you say. We are going to be friends. And Sanovi is like, are you okay? Like, it really didn't take all of this. I did what any man should do. And that's tea. Like, Sanovi was like, I was raised by my granny who gave me manners. Like, I know how to clean. I know women should be protected. And I know nobody should be messing with me. Period. And so Novi is like, okay, I'll let you take me to breakfast as a repayment. I really don't want your money, but here we are. You won't take the hint and just leave me alone. So Novi goes with her, and they go out to eat, and he's like, oh, this girl come from money, like, but he's not on no scamming joint. He's like, I can see people taking advantage of her, like, just how eager she was to take me out to eat or give me money, and she don't know me, and just how eager she was to like drive me around and things like that. I need to watch out for her. But again, he doesn't naturally take to people. He has built up this hard shell, and it is very, very hard to break through it, but somehow Raquel does it. And then she goes and she's like, okay, well, I need you to come to my party, and if you come to my party, I just want you to be a chaperone, because she's 18, so Novi is 22. And so he's like, okay, bet, I'll chaperone for you, and I'll clean the house for a band. And she's like, okay, great. So he's in the home, and they trash it, and so she's like, okay, well, it's too late, you can spend the night here. Which again just goes to the naivete of her. Like, yes, he saved you, but you don't know this man from a can of paint, and you allowed him to stay not in your home, we come to realize, but in your sister's home, where anything can happen. But so then we get to see the next morning the sister, whose name is Torin, who is going to be our love interest. She comes home and she's like, no, this girl did not just trash my house after I've been working 24 to 48 hours on my feet. I'm tired. My house is a mess. Where's she at? So she's she's opening doors, trying to figure out. She sees one of her doors is locked, and she starts banging on the door. And who's in that room but Sonobi? Now, this is the part where my mom was like, I would have shot him. I would have shot him, because not only is a strange man in my house, one, I know my little sister was here, and I don't know this man, so who knows what happened. 2, 3, he mad disrespectful in my crib to me. I pay rent, I pay the bills up in this mug, and he gonna talk to me like he crazy? Oh, blah blah, you know, just a little flesh room, like, hey, mind your manners. But like the way in which they interact with each other, like, is so funny to me. And she was like, who are you? And he like, that's not how you address somebody, bro. You in my house. And he was like, well, I could leave this mug and leave it just like it is. And of course, here come naive Raquel, like, oh no, it's fine, this is my friend. She's like, friend? Yeah, I met him Friday. Baby, it's Sunday. You don't know this man. And so like, just that interaction with one another, and how like they're both like, oh, I don't like you, you're rude, and or you're disrespectful, and you entitled. Like the way in which they're getting on each other's nerves, but they're also attracted to each other. I was like, that's chemistry right there. I can't wait to read more of it. Like I said, Brandon, this year, she's probably going to be my most read author, between her and Jaquel J, because they're going to be battling out for Duke this month, because I know I need to read Capadonna, which will not be in this video, but I probably will read the following of this book, because it's just a 2-book duet, and so like, I'm probably going to run through it. Okay, y'all, I just need to come in here because I've made it to 75% of Keep You to Myself, and I just need y'all to know the plot twist that just happened. So good. Brandon, I can see why all of the buzz is coming here. When we talk about like a couple that is a power couple, the woman is willing to invest in her man. She sees that he has the potential. He just needs to leg up. He decides to be emotionally vulnerable and finally let somebody in and really do trust her and really does allow her to see him. The way in which these two are just like fire and ice, and like it works so well because like he is cool and cold with everybody, but when he gets in with her and she is his comfort, and her warmth kind of like brings him down. And then when her temperature is hot and she's mad and she's pissed off, he is able to like bring her down and bring her back to like a cool room temperature. Like, I love these two. And I love the drama that is happening in here, because Jade, baby, the way in which the wheels spin on her, you thought you was scoping out the scene. You thought you was going to chase down Sonovi when you a married woman. Let's not even talk about the fact that you doing all of this craziness and a baby in a backseat. Like, hello, CPS is being called, I am sure, because you are off your rocker, especially given what just happened. I didn't see it coming. There's no way I could have saw that in a million years. Now I'm like, I got 25% remaining. I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen, because like the news just rocks Sonovi to the core, and he just got to a place where everything was working in his favor. He has the woman, he has the job, he is getting the relationship back with his family. Like, all things are in the up and up, and then ish hits the fan. Then what is going to happen with his relationship? Because I feel like he's going to turn in and start internalizing, and he is going to pull away from Torin. And I can't take that. And this is a duet, so I know there's more to come, because I have to keep going and read book 2. Probably not in this fall, because I also need to read fast, which I did continue on. Now, with fast, I'm reading this slow. I am taking my time because, yeah, it's that type of heavy. The granny was like, oh, okay, I'm seeing signs, baby. It's too late. It is too late. All of the signs mean that things have come to pass, and what's done cannot be undone. The bell cannot be unrung. And I am sitting here and I'm like, I've only read additional 4%. I think I may be a little bit more than 8% now, but I was like, okay, finally we get a small bit of reprieve, and she gets to make a friend adjacent in Sean. Like, in Sean's mind, Sean is our male main character. He is, I want to say, like a year or 2 years older than Caprice. And he is the little boy that is playing at the basketball court, and all of the girls are fawning over him. And he has eyes on Caprice, but Caprice is like, I know you. I understand that all of the people want you. I just find a kinship in you, and I think that you are a person that can see me. But she doesn't really know like how truly he sees her. And then she goes through what she goes through in her home life, and she isn't at school for weeks, and Sean is like, something's not right. So Sean is trying to tell his mom and trying to say, hey, something is going on with the girl across the street, and her granny is saying she's sick, but I'm not sure. Help. And his mom is like, oh, you've got a crush. Oh, you like a girl. Well, this is what you do. And he looked like, mama, stop playing. Like, you want to be all fun and games and be cutesy and thinking that I want the girl. Like, I want her to be okay. And so when he finally sees her come out of her house, and after 2 weeks of being missing, he's like, okay. All right, y'all, it is time for a check-in on fast. Now, I'm 33% of the way in, and I'm having to take another break. Yeah, I told you I'm reading it slow because we had just had the best day. Like, it is Caprice's 16th birthday. The next day is going to be Sean's 18th birthday. They're spending with each other. They're having an emotional breakthrough. Like, he is telling her how he feels about her. She is reciprocating those feelings. Like, we just had a moment. They shared a cupcake and he gave her a fantastic present. And I'm like, okay, finally we get like joy and reprieve, and we get a moment to just be young and happy. And then Millie said, not on my watch. That is how it felt. Like, to have this lovely smile on my face, and then Gracie, Caprice's granny, comes and just rips it to shreds by telling us that Marcel is coming back home. Like, he got early release. And I'm like, did we have to do this today? Couldn't we just have one day of like peace, joy, solace? Just one day. Millie said, nah, baby, I want to bring you through the emotional ringer. And so, like, I said, okay, well, it's time for break number 57 because I can't keep going like this. And so I was like, okay, well, let me pick up My Choice Is You. Now, I am having a good time. Like, where that is bringing me through the ringer with, like, emotional angst and pain and, like, crazy starring feelings, this one is doing the exact opposite. It is making me laugh. It is bringing a smile to my face. It is just what I need to kind of balance out fast. Now, let me tell you about this one. This one is the story of Jasper and Kavina. Now, Jasper is this fine man that you see on this cover. Now, Jasper has a sister named April, and April has put in an application to move in with Kavina. Now, it's interesting because Jasper is very protective of his sister. His sister has been saving up money, and he was like, okay, if you raise half of whatever rent you need, I'll give you the other half, because he has money, right? So he has come from a really wealthy family. Like, their family got it out the mud. They started doing things legit, and they have a bunch of businesses. But Jasper wanted to experience it for himself. He was like, I didn't want my father's name and legacy to just be handed to me. He went out and he did some things on his own. He wound up being incarcerated for 3 years. And I'm wondering how that's going to play into this, or if it's just like, okay, well, that just gives him a little, the grit that we need him to be, the protector that he is. Now, he goes on this application interview with his sister April to Kavina's house. Now, Kavina is looking for someone to room with her because she wants to experience, you know, what it's like to be social, to have friends, to have adult-like experiences, but in a way that is comfortable and safe for her. Now, Kavina was diagnosed with autism at the age of 4. She is now a junior in college, and she has told her father, like, I want to be able to live on my own. Now, her father is very protective. He is a former NBA player, and he's like, okay, this is a compromise I will make. I will let you live on your own. However, I will build you a home on our land and on our property, and we will go through the interview process together. She's like, okay, cool, fine, bet. Now, she finally gets to the interview with April, and she's like, I really like her. Like, I want her to be my roommate. And there becomes a friendship between the two. Now, Sheldon is Kavina's father. Like I said, he's very protective. And so when he first meets Jasper, like, he automatically sees how Jasper is looking at his daughter. And he was like, okay, this is the first time interacting with a man. Let him know, not over here, buddy. Like, if you're going to date my daughter, which I know she's fine because she looked just like my wife who is deceased. Like, I have to look at my daughter every day and know that the beauty she is, not only on the outside, but on the inside. But let me let you know, not over here, my boy. If you're gonna come correct. And he was like, gangster recognize gangster. Like, Sheldon has come from the streets as well, but his daughter has never seen that side of him. So she gets to see, like, the man her father is and how he will do whatever to protect his daughter. And Jasper's like, I appreciate and respect that, but you're not gonna keep coming for me. Like, we're gonna have this amicable relationship. And I understand why you're doing this. And so like I just love the interaction between the two men, because it is very much, we are the same person. Jasper's like that with April, and Sheldon is obviously like that with Kavina. But I think that they're going to have an amazing bond and an amazing relationship as Jasper starts to develop feelings for Kavina. And I'm wanting to see that play out. Now, this is a smaller book, so I don't really know how much in depth we're going to get about like everyone's relationship. But the beauty of starting to see April and Kavina develop a friendship. We just had this moment where Kavina is having a girls' night and they're playing truth or dare, and y'all know that's one of my favorite things in a book, to see like a truth or dare or like some sort of spin the bottle, some sort of gamification inside that just like exposes the characters. And so they have just called Jasper, and Kavina has like, I think you're cute, and like hung up the phone, very much giving, check this off my list. I have done like the sleepover games, like boys type things. And Jasper shows up, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna get good. So that's where I'm at right now. I definitely needed this because, again, fast is beating me up. So like I need balance, and that's what this is. So I'll come back and give you the rest of my thoughts. I think this is probably, these two are going to be the final ones for this vlog, just because I feel like it's going to be long. But can't wait to tell you some more. Bye. Time to wrap up this video. It's already long, but before I get into the last two books that I need to talk about, I want to talk about families, because each one of these had a father component and a grandma component that I do want to talk about. And as y'all probably are aware now, I love family dynamics in books. They are a huge part of who we are as individuals, our upbringing, our comfort system, our community, who we rely on. And so there's good and bad. And I'm going to start with grannies, because 3 out of the 4 books have grannies that we talk about. So I'm going to put them in ranking from high, meaning that I absolutely love them, medium to like they cool, like you're your typical granny, and then like bottom of the barrel, like I hate you with every core of my being. You probably shouldn't have had a child or grandchild. So we're going to start with medium, right? Like my cool granny. Like this is the normal, everyday, typical granny. And that's going to be the granny of Sonovi. Like when we met Granny, I loved how like she set the foundation for Sonovi to be the man that he is. And like at first, she was one of the first grannies that I read. I was like, oh, cool. Can't get no better than this. That's where I'm wrong. The granny that I love the most came in My Choice Is You. Like, Granny here versus Granny here, I think the difference is, like, the interaction, the amount of Granny that we've seen. Both of these grannies don't play about their grandchildren. Like, Sonovi Granny was like, yeah, this mine, I'm going to take care of him, until she couldn't anymore. This granny said, I will move furniture in this bitch around my grandchild. Literally, those were her words to her own son. And I was like, this is the type of grandmother that I would love to have. Like, this granny here, she did not play about Covina. She was like, I don't care who you are, daddy or not, that may be your child, but this is my grandbaby. And I was like, yeah. She cooked. She gave grannyly advice, but really kept it real from a woman's point of view. And I love this. Now, for every good granny, there's an absolute trash and terrible granny. And I think y'all already know it's the granny from Fast. Like, this woman here is going to spark me having to do a family I'd like to fight quicker than expected. Like, I just filmed that video like last month or the month before. But the way she got me hot and ready to film again, I need a break because this granny deserves worse than what she got. And again, we're going to wrap up this book in a minute, but just know Millie didn't give the justice. Like, this lady is going to be rest peacefully, and she need to be turning over. Also going to talk about fathers, because fathers are a good component, and we don't get enough of that in our books, because that is the representation of Black men in their sons' lives that we desperately need in the real world, and I love to see it in a fictional world. So we're going to talk about two fathers. We're going to talk about the daddy in Mel Dow's book, My Choice Is You, because I really loved how two things. Jasper's father, even though Jasper was a grown man handling his business, his father never let up on him. His father was like, I'm always going to be a president in your life. And if somebody is threatening you, they got to come through me first. Like, you a grown man handling your grown man business. But never forget, I'm big dog. And I'm going to make sure don't nobody come and threaten you. And it don't matter who it is. It may be my favorite baseball player. It may be somebody that I'm cool kiki with. We can run on a golf course. But if he decides that he want to come to you, here I am. And I love that. I loved that Jasper had a relationship with his father that let him know that he was safe. Like, he could come to him for advice. Man to man, I need some help. I need you to help see me through this. And when it all boiled down to it, that's what Jasper needed. And then oppositely, I love Kavina's father was like, baby girl, I'm always going to provide and protect you. I may not like the choices that you're making. And he had some moments where he stepped out of line. Like I said, the granny had to get him together. But like, this father really took care of business. He could have allowed himself to drown in his sorrows when his wife died. He could have been very hands-off with his daughter, knowing that she had special needs. Like, there was so many things that he could have done, and the society would have given him a pass, but he stepped up as a man. Great fatherly example with both men in here. And then, of course, the father that we have in Equivalent Exchange. Like, y'all, I'm telling you, this one really did a number on me, and I did not expect that from this storyline. It was probably one of my biggest surprises. But again, the father in here, I wish we would have got to see a lot more of him and in his prime before we had his storyline. But again, this is one of those situations where it just shows you how much grown men need their father figures and their fathers in their lives, and how they desperately cling to whatever they can get of that man, and how they try to impress them and emulate them. They try to replicate the success and avoid the failures. Like, this one had a good father representation, because again, he may have been going through things, but he was like, I'm still the father around this piece. Until I'm 6 foot in a grave, you're gonna come through me and we're gonna have a conversation. So again, love the father and granny representation. Now let's talk about Fast. I think that this one is such an important body of work that truly needs a lot of disclaimers, but I will say I don't even know if it had disclaimers or trigger warnings in the book, because this book, as it's recommended by so many people, that is how I knew what the contents were going to hold. This one is heavy, so I want you to be mindful that this one has a lot of trauma built into this, and it is the highs and lows of life, right? Like, for every dark thing that Millie puts into this book, she also gives little glimpses of hope and joy with Sean, and I really loved that friendship, that foundation that Sean set for her, and how he was her person throughout any facet of life, and how it really was the thing that kept Caprice going, because this could have taken a turn. Like, there was a moment in which Caprice was getting ready to flee, and she was like asking him, begging him to buy her a bus ticket, which could have broke me. And it was such an emotional read that, again, throughout most of this book, I had to take breaks. But there was a point in which she contemplated, hey, if this does not work out for me, this may be the end. And when you see someone at their lowest point, you are compelled to save them. You are compelled to help them, especially if you love and care for them. And once Sean realized what had been missing. Like, he's a smart boy. This man was paying attention to Caprice, but he just couldn't put two and two together. And it's very hard for someone that, hasn't been exposed to this type of life to really see the signs. And so when Sean finally puts it together, I understood why he did the things that he did. But when that happened, right, when you get to that climax of a point and they kind of go their separate ways, I was like, bro, how will they continue? Like, they are such soulmates and so connected. But the beautiful thing about life and the beautiful thing about your journey, what's meant for you is going to come back to you. And the way in which it came back was so organic, and it was at the perfect time, because the way that Sean was about to just go with the flow and marry somebody or get engaged to somebody that he truly never saw it for himself, but he was doing it out of, these are the steps in life that I'm supposed to take. I am now 30 and this is what the next step in life is supposed to be. And he knew the entire time, like, nobody would ever have his heart because Caprice had it. And their reconnection just felt so right. It was a beautiful thing to see, because at that point, Caprice was soaring. She had found a found family, and it very much felt like Matilda's story, right? Like, if you think of Miss Kelly as Miss Honey, it really says, oh, okay, everything is going to be all right. When she came in and bro, there was a moment when she slapped the grandma. I said, do it again, because this lady, I'm telling you, this lady got off scot-free, in my opinion, right? Like, now she's going to be reliving her memories, and she is stuck in a place where she has to, when Caprice comes back and finally visits her grandma again, I was like, ooh. Like, you have to pay for your crimes and to see me doing well. Like, the way, also, let's talk about how the book wrapped up. I don't want to give too many spoilers, but like, the thing that Sean did for her as giving her control in her agency and ownership, and taking and tearing down those monuments of things that were her reminder of her trauma, I was like, what a poetic end. This book right here needs to be recommended, needs to be read, it needs to be talked about. These are the things in our community that we sit in silence and allow our survivors to be in shame, right? Like, Caprice's story is someone's story, and that's the thing about this book. It is fiction, but it feels so real. And I encourage you, if you do pick this up, know your triggers. Know that it's okay for you to take a break. Know that this story is going to stick and resonate with you, but understand that it deserves a place on our bookshelf. Now, lastly, my choice is You. And I will tell you that this has got to be the funniest book that I've read this year. Like, side-splitting, laugh out loud, moments where you're like, I don't know if the author intended to be funny or if this is truly a situation where you're not supposed to laugh because the characters are serious. This book is going to hold a special place in my heart. For one, it helps me to understand my lens as a neurotypical person and what you may experience. Again, the neurodiversity is a stream or spectrum. As you can see, they talk about how there's level 1 and Kavina is level 1 versus someone that is on a level 3. I think we meet a character that is on level 2 or level 3 of the spectrum, and how engagement and interactions may differ. And I love that we got to see multiple sides of the spectrum. And I appreciate, one of the biggest things that I want to talk about is how I appreciate Mel Dow so much for accountability in this book, because I struggled during certain parts of this book because, again, I am neurotypical. So I found frustration with the ways in which Kavina dealt with Jasper in terms of how she wanted things to be her way and her way only. And when Jasper established boundaries for him, like he was like, you're not going to use me like a piece of meat, and you're not going to play with my feelings, and I'm going to be true of this is what I want, and if you can't give me that, then we can just be friends. And I appreciated him being able to realize his own worth and being able to stand 10 toes down on that, no matter how much he was desperate to be with her. And I appreciate April for calling it out, like, Covina, you are selfish, you're self-centered, and Jasper deserves more. Like, you're my friend, but that's my brother. And I appreciate, like, Mel having that balance, just because we tend to walk around on eggshells or handle people with kid gloves. And of course, Covina has told you time and time again, she is an adult and she wants to be treated like an adult. So when you do things, they also have unintended consequences. And I appreciate Mel for bringing that into the case, because if we would have allowed a lot of the things to happen in which I thought they were going to happen, I probably would have been very frustrated. But again, it's balance. I learned so much. This book has taught me so much about the importance of communication, how Covina just said things as though they were facts. And again, they were facts because that's how she deals and operates. Her ability to understand emotions and social cues. Like, I sugarfoot a lot of stuff where it almost backfires for me because I delayed my conversation with this person and it caused additional harm when I should have just had a conversation. And to be able to see Covina do it in a way that was just natural, it allowed me to say, okay, well, maybe I should change some of my communication tactics, and this is how I should approach the situation. So, like, this book right here is small, but it is mighty. It packs so much of a punch. It tells you how you go through life as a person versus someone that is on the spectrum, and how you all could both learn from each other and it be a symbiotic relationship. Also, let's talk about some of the scenes. I was like, okay, Jasper. Now, I was a little bit perturbed because there was steam and there was a little bit of spice, and then I felt like there was a closed door. Baby, give it to me. Give me everything. So, all in all, I absolutely love this book. This 25 for 25, the end of the video, banger. I've got to read my shelves more. I've got to appreciate what I've got, because I've got some hits. Like, it was hit, banger, banger. There was no misses in this video. That being said, do me a favor. If you would like to leave me a carnival emoji or a roller coaster emoji, because we all deserve to go to Disney and get our happily ever after. That being said, if you don't want to do that, leave me a comment of what you read in 25 for 25 or what you were happy to get off of your shelves and accomplish, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.